Oh man, what a feels trip. My eyes are watering just a little bit, but oh man, what a finale. It's Baja Irish Rico. Okay, the last episode of Erased, and she's what what a feels trip. Uh, it's a bittersweet moment to see probably easily the best anime of winter to finally end. And it easily could be one of the best animes of this year. Um, so this episode just goes off of what how last episode ended, episode 11 ended, right out, where you see Satoru basically confronting the teacher and saying that like, yeah, I have my memories back. And then it goes back and has a few little flashbacks of him still in the hospital, and you see his friends are like, hey, we kind of like sense that like maybe you do have your memories back. Hey, can we help you? You don't have to do this alone. Like we've been here for you. And then it just goes back, flash forward back to the present time where they're talking. So the dialogue here is just so tense, but it's in a way that's not hostile. Satoru's just explaining, that even though after all these years, he was in this coma, he still feels like he's won. He stopped all the killings. He kept all his friends alive. He kept his mom alive, and then he's just like, I know your future. And then the teacher just starts explaining how like, he had all these opportunities to kill him, right? And he sees some flashbacks, and it even seems like he was kind of like a father figure to him. He would come over and he'd even like shave him, while he's just lying in the bed. And it's just it's a sentimental moment because you see that like, there's just a lot went on in that time. And even though the teacher did have points where he could easily kill him at any point, right? It's just that it was more to that. It's pretty much the teacher, at first Satoru just has a phone open and it's like trying to record a conversation, and the teacher's like, hey, like I know you have a phone there. And then he explains, he's like, it's been 15 years, the liable cause or whatever, you can't arrest me at this point pretty much, and it's okay. And there's nothing you can do about it. And then he says he's poisoned the little girl that Satoru's been talking to. He put things in the medicine bag, and Satoru's fingerprints are on there. And Satoru's like, okay, yeah, fine. I see your plan. Your plan was to throw me off the roof, make it look like I killed myself and killed the girl, and just hate my life. Um, but then Satoru explains, like, hey, like, even though he's explaining more of like how he's won, and that that the teacher needs him, that it's more than that, and it's the teacher, like his whole life has been revolving around him these 15 years, and that he's never understood how he's foiled his plans, how this students foiled his plans, and just kept him just thinking all these years. So then a huge twist comes on, and then Satoru is like, and this is why, blah blah blah, I've won and stuff. And then he just takes his wheelchair, and rolls off. And it's smart because you see Satoru initially just kind of rolling away while he's talking, but then he just makes a bolt towards the edge of the edge of the building just to hop off. And then and you're just like, wait, what? And you know what he's theoretically doing, right? He's like, yeah, I've won. And it doesn't matter that I die. I've saved all my friends. And if I die here and you're blamed for it, then everything would be okay. So then he just runs down. And then he's like, I was about to burst into tears. Like, it looks like he falls. And then he grabbed, the teacher runs over and he grabs the wheelchair. And then you see Satoru just smiling. And it's a great shot. You just see Satoru sitting there in the wheelchair smiling, not even fearful. And the sun in the background. It's, some beautiful animation there. And he's just explaining like, hey, he's going deeper. It's like, you've needed me. You needed all this. And even though you're not the person who I know you would have become, I'm the only one who really knows who you are. And the teacher just bursts out in tears, and he's just like, yeah, like you are. You're the only one who actually truly knows who I am. And even though he doesn't really maybe understand the whole future and the hopping back in time and everything, the revival stuff, it's a tense moment, and their dialogue is just so powerful. And then, Satoru is just calm and collected and just explaining that, after all these years, uh, this is I know you, I know if you become, and I'm happy this way. He's basically accepting everything that's life's become for him. And the teacher's like, yeah, and the teacher's just like, he understands, and he knows that at some point, like, he needed Satoru for his life. He's always needed him, and then he accepts it, and then lets go of the wheelchair, and then Satoru falls, and he falls to his death, and this is when I'm like, second time I'm like, oh no, not again. I'm trying to hold back tears again. I'm just like, oh man, like, it's too much. And then the teacher looks at his reflection in like a puddle right next to him, sees his old self, and kind of just reflects. And it's like a deep moment. He's reflecting on himself. And then he looks down and he hears, and this is the best scene one of the best scenes in the episode. He looks down and he sees that Satoru has actually fallen onto one of those like air bed things, right? That like firefighters use, and around him is his mom, his friends, and I think one of the old administrators, and they're all there, and they have to record, they're recording it, they have proof, and then Satoru just looks up at the teacher and just winks, and then you realize at that point that Satoru all this time had, he'd come up with a plan, he'd even though everything he said was true, he didn't want to die yet, and that's the moment when you truly see that he's won. Then it just flashes to the next scene where you see the teacher getting arrested and going away and everything, and him talking to his friends, and yeah, it's just a great scene. That's the bulk of the episode. That's the first, probably like the first 15 minutes, and it's a great resolution to a plot that spend what drives the series home. Just even though the teacher's reveal may not have been the most surprising moment, they still did it well, and this whole plot's been leading up to like, how does this end up, and it's happy. The tone of the show is not one where it was going to be like everyone dies. No, it's a happy and it's a motivating one, and he basically and he saves all his friends. The teacher gets what he deserves, and then Sasha just goes more into dialogue. He's just like, even though I've lost these 15 years, this is what kind of makes me me, and this is my special like aspects of my life, and it's just great. And then I was like, oh, I thought the episode was gonna end there, but I'm not complaining. Like, I want more, but and then it goes into more. I'm like, cool, and we get really solid exposition. It kind of flashes forward into where he's like, not much older, but probably like later 20s, maybe 30 or so, and you see that he's finally become a manga artist like he always wanted to, and a successful one at that. They even say he's at a meeting, and then in the background they're like, oh, and look, the poster of your the anime based on your manga is coming out. So obviously, his manga's been successful, and he's been a successful career, and he's doing what he's always wanted. That his future, even though he lost those years, at the same point he didn't become the pizza delivery guy that he was in the future, and he's happy. And it's and literally everything's working up for him. Life's amazing, and then he goes and visits some friends, and it shows that he's still close to everyone. He goes and visits Mayo and like all his older friends, and you see like, and then the ending music comes on, and it's all how shows end. The ending music's on, and it's just so sentimental. He's walking down, he's visiting his friends, having some beers, and he sees he sees that old girl classmate, the last one he was trying to save, and he blushes and everything, and it's just really well done, and just a solid exposition for and just an ending for this series. And he goes, sees all his friends, and you see him working, and everything's great. And then to my surprise, we still got like another minute or so. I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder what they're gonna do. And you see him, he's at work, and he pops out, and he's like, I just need to go for a walk. And they're like, yeah, it's snowing. He's like, yeah, whatever, right? He just leaves, and he goes under the bridge where he used to go with the I forgot, her name's eluding me, but the other the girl he worked at the pizza shop with, and he's just there, he's walking past like all the places he used to walk to as a kid, and he's reminiscing a bit, and yeah, and then he just sits there and sees like a butterfly, the blue butterfly from the opening. It's kind of symbolizing well-being, and he's talking and he's saying that like, in addition, like you were saying earlier, like revival hasn't happened ever again, and it's basically it's basically saying that like he succeeded. Everything, the reason for revival was for him to save all these people, and he's like, yeah, it's good that it's never happened again. That means he succeeded, and like everything's turned out how it should be, and life is good. He sees the blue butterfly, and it's kind of like symbolic, of it's symbolic of like the good luck and fortune and all the happiness, because you see it in the opening, the blue butterfly, and he's just kind of like, oh, what is that? And it's implied that, you know, only he can see it, and it might just be a figment of his mind. But it's just at that point you just kind of realize that everything's come to be, everything's been perfect, and his life's turned out what he wants. But then they come back and they're like, all right, you know, that everything's perfect, but there's one more thing we can hit you with, right? And then you know, the pizza girl, the high schooler girl that who was the only one who believed him in the future when when he was convicted for the murder. She comes running, you know, he's pretending, he's like, you know, shaping up like a photo image, right? And just looking around at the butterfly, and then as the butterfly flies away, he looks and he sees this girl taking a picture and running over, and he's like, wait, what? And then he realizes it's her, and now of course she doesn't remember him, but you know, he sees her and she's like, hey, how's it going? It's cold, blah blah blah. And it's like, is it okay if I sit here with you? And then, you know, he just, you know, tears just fill up in his eyes, and then he just nods his head, and the show ends. And like, you know, everything, you know, he has all his friends, he's successful, he's happy, and finally he meets the girl, you know, the one who will believe in him. Now, it's not implied anything that, like, you know, they're gonna get married or anything, but you know, it's definitely a possibility. I'm guessing that, you know, he's probably about the age he was when he back, like in the original, in like the first episode or so. So she's probably still like high school. So I don't think they're gonna be like, you know, dating yet. But it implies that he found everyone that he used to care about. Everyone is safe, and yeah, he found, and the last piece of the puzzle, you know, he's with the one girl that like believed in him, and you know, the girl who really cared about him, like one of the most just like genuine, like beautiful people, like, inside and out, that he's met. And you know, just to sum up of the whole series, this series has, you know, had such sad, intense moments, dramatic moments. It had beautiful moments as well. It had funny moments. Like the whole series, like, yeah, you know, seeing the preview to the series this season, I wasn't sure if this was gonna be a show I would really care much about, but it's turned out to be, honestly, like one of my favorite shows ever. Like I would definitely give this series, like, at minimum, like a 9. Like if not, like maybe a little bit higher. I really can't think of a dull moment. Every episode was well made, and you know, it's not like you know, it's not shonen, it's not like action and everything, but it's just like a beautiful story, amazing characters, amazing plot, and it's been a fun ride, and I'm glad to see it ended on a high note. And definitely an anime I'll suggest to any of my friends or anybody else who like likes this kind of like drama-y, like maybe even like somewhat romancy like story. And yeah, that's about it. Great episode, you know, great, phenomenal ending to a phenomenal series, and I'm very satisfied with how it ended, and I hope everyone else is. But let me know what you guys think. And also, if you kind of like these anime reviews and stuff like that, like, comment, subscribe. You know, I have a bunch of shows I know I'm gonna start watching next season. And you know, I'll keep up with reviews, weekly reviews for each of the episodes. And thanks for watching. If you watched it all the way through, definitely, especially thanks. And have a great day, guys.